Hi everybody, this is the Axiom PoGo. I just got mine and I'm really happy with it. I just made one minor modification to it and I'd like to show it to you. And if you'd like to see how I did that, stick around and I'll take it apart for you. Okay, so there's no real mystery what I did there. I just reversed the polarity of the magnets, but I did need to glue them in, and that's what this video is going to be about. They need to be glued in a specific orientation, and there's some tips along the way that I think you'll find helpful. So I have it unscrewed for to make things easier, but basically you can now take these sides off, flip this over, and it becomes attractive as opposed to repulsive. And that is best represented in this simple drawing. The top part here shows the magnet orientation in a repulse mode. This part shows the orientation of the magnets in an attract mode. And that's just a little key to remind you that that's a magnet. The dark side is north, the light side is south. Magnet, 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 magnet. So, of course, that's a cap end. That's a cap end. This represents the middle. Now, you can pause that if you like. I'm going to take it out and just talk about gluing. Alright, the most important thing I think is to glue the magnets in first to this. I'm going to bring this back. It's important that the magnets be glued with the north oriented in the same direction on both sides. Very important. So we'll glue the magnets in here first, and the way to do that, I believe best, is to put a drop of crazy glue on your magnet and seat it into the hole and let that cure, and then come back and put a little bit of Loctite over it. There's still a little bit of a gap between the magnet and the shaft, and tap it on a table, get that glue down into that crack, and gently wipe off the surface. You don't want to soak all that glue out of the seam. You just want to gently wipe it off quick, and do the same thing on the other side. Now it's difficult, you can't see that right now. There's a little bit of foam on here, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But it's the same process for these. Like I said, you want to do the shaft piece first because it's going to help you install the magnets into the caps. So once you have the magnets installed, again, north facing the same direction on both sides. Once you do that, you can take the magnet that goes in this cap when it's out and loose, and just stick it on there. And while it's in your hand here, put a drop of glue on it, take the cap, push it in, and hold it. And this would be the crazy glue, not the Loctite, just a drop on the back. And hold it till it cures. When you pull it out, the magnet will stick to the back, and you'll have your middle piece back again. Repeat the exact same thing on this side. Push the magnet in, let it cure. Now there's a magnet stuck to the bottom. Next thing you do is take your Loctite and sort of flood both of these. Just a little puddle down at the bottom to ensure that it gets around the seam between the magnet and the walls of this cylinder on the inside. Even tap it again on the table, and then Q-tip, swab it out quickly. Don't soak it out. You want to keep some of that glue down in the seam. Clean it out quickly, set it aside. Now the Loctite needs to cure for 24 hours unless you heat it, and if you do that you risk hurting the magnets. You better read up if you're going to do that. I do that, but don't do that if you don't read first. Anyhow, the foam would be the last thing to talk about. Go to Walmart, go to the craft section. They have 8.5 by 11 sheets of foam. I think it's 1/16 of an inch thick. And if you don't have a pair of hole punchers, probably none of us have those anymore, but I had some at work. Hole punchers will cut a perfect circle that fits on the end of this. And the reason I want to put foam on this, and the reason I think it's critical that you put a piece of foam on the end of this, is because if you don't, you're going to have magnet smashing into the surface of the other magnet. And you don't think that's much. And we're losing some, obviously it's not as clicky as it could be. if I didn't have that foam on there. But without the foam, you're going to have magnet impacting magnet. And if you're not aware, neodymium magnets, they're just powdered metal pressed and heated, and that's how they're into shape. And if you put one in a vise and twist that vise, it'll crush back into powder. A repeated impact, even at this small distance, will eventually probably damage it. So I'm putting foam on it, and I think you should too. It doesn't impact, doesn't change the haptic that much. It keeps it a little quiet. It would be a little louder, of course. And if this, if Lee decided to go with this, permanently gluing these in this kind of an orientation, of course, or anything, whatever, that could this could be avoided. The fact that these magnets touch each other simply by changing this little gap here and using that screw to control how far the piston travels. Then you could stop it just short of the magnet surfaces touching each other, if you were to go that route. Either way, this works quite nicely, and I hope that helps. That's going to be almost a 6-minute video. Thanks for watching, and thank you, Lee, for such an awesome new toy. I'll eventually maybe learn how to roll it like a real knuckle roller. Thank you. Bye-bye.